Here in Hollywood, even all these years later, we are fascinated by the golden age of Hollywood. The stars, the movies, the fashions, and George Hurrell had a lot to do with that. He was a photographer and makeup artist, and he was really a pioneer in Hollywood glam. He created these sultry portraits for people like Bette Davis and Joan Crawford. Photographer Mark Veira has two new books with some great pictures and stories. George Hurrell's Hollywood, and also the other book is Majestic Hollywood, and Mark is with us today. Welcome, Mark.
Thank you, Sandra.
So we talk about the golden age of Hollywood and how George Hurrell had so much to do with that. And one of your books actually focuses on his career, but also includes 400 magnificent photos.
Well, imagine if you were a celebrity now and you went to a photographer and he said, I'm going to make you look good. I'm going to enhance you, find the inner beauty. Isn't that a revolutionary idea in 2014? And yet that's what he did, and that's how he became famous. He created the Hollywood portrait.
And most of what he did was about bringing out the inner personalities of his subjects.
Right, because the camera is true. The camera does not lie. If the person is not in a good mood, is nervous, anxious, withdrawn, that is captured. And he besides glamorizing with the retouching and the lighting, he drew out from people the mood, the excitement, the magic that they had within them.
No Photoshop necessary back then. We have a picture of Joan Crawford. Let's go ahead and look at that. And we see how...
No, that's Bette Davis.
Oh, that was Bette Davis.
Here's Errol Flynn. Here's Joan Crawford.
And we see she has the image, of course, passed down from Mommy Dearest. And when we look at that, she does indeed look like a stern woman.
She was a very focused person. And here's Bette Davis, who was her big rival. And they both were, you know what, they were both very loyal to their co-workers. Now, their personal lives, who knows? But I look at them, I say, this is an artist who worked hard, who rewarded the people who helped her become famous, was very loyal to them, and always, like Hurrell, gave her all, he gave his all. They never cut corners, they never gave less than their magical best.
They were very intense, I guess what we would call type A personalities now.
Yes.
And both Bette Davis and Joan Crawford are figured in your books, both of these books.
Both books, yeah.
What did you find out doing your research on them? What were you surprised to find out?
That they did their homework. They were both very interested in learning, researching, studying, because you can't go onto a soundstage with your makeup and your costume on and not know who you're playing, why this is being done. And what's wonderful too about the movies from 1939, you know, this is the anniversary, 75 years, they trusted the intelligence of their audiences. They said, okay, we're not going to talk down to people, give them, you know, lowest common denominator stuff. We're going to give them stuff that they have to try to understand, but ultimately they're going to enjoy it more because they learned something.
And when you talk about Majestic Hollywood in 1939 and what was going on at the time, and those great movies that came out then, Gone with the Wind, The Wizard of Oz, and just on and on, what an incredible year for the film industry.
And what surprised me when I did my homework to write it, you know, and guess where? At the LA Public Library, in the LA Times, all the articles were there explaining why that year. There were really 5 reasons. And in '89, when they said that was just the greatest year, they never said why. And I found out why, and it's in the book. There were 5 reasons why that year, and they knew that year was going to be a very, very important year.
Fascinating stuff. Mark, thank you so much.
Oh, thank you, Sandra.
All right, for more information about Mark Veira's new book, actually 2 books, just go to KCAL9.com. You can click Scene on TV. Thanks.